All right. Welcome. Thomas Dimitrovich here, and it is, it is Tuesday, and it is Tech Tuesday, and I just need to close some things here and hit save. I hear it, but I can't see it yet. But up. Hold on. Where's the comments? I'm looking for the comments. There's that. I have to do window, camera effects, show all utility windows. I don't want to do show all. Network camera. Oh man. Interview, output, options, window. I'm going to do show all. Man, that's going to be. There we go. All right. I'm showing all utility windows. I can get rid of Zoom. I can get rid of the Camlink 4. There we go, Fred. We got David Englehart in the house. We have Charlie Spruitt in the house. Laurel. Hey, we can't start without Laurel from Omaha. Nihad El Sharif. Nihad, good to see you online, my friend. Yeah, finally. Now you know where to find me. Just go live. That's it. And then Freddie B. Well, I'll tell you what. Last week, wait, what's today? Today's Tuesday. Yeah, last week was Supercode. Out in Massachusetts at Plymouth. What a group and what a successful event that was. Unbelievable, bar none. So Supercode, if you don't know, is that Robert from Omaha? Excellent. Supercode, in case you don't know, is the event. I was just looking at Jake. Is the event where we take a look at the 2026 NEC code changes. So it's during this event, historically, year after year after year, that the IAEI has presented code changes, leveraging what we've got to date with regard to our slide deck. As you all know, we have been working on a code change document that is going to knock your socks off. The book is going to be, bar none, I think it's going to be one of the best that we've ever put out. All of the stuff that I'm seeing and all of the hard work, the collaboration that is going on is insane. All right, we've got Dean Hunter, we have Mark Hilbert, David Williams, David Humphrey, myself. I know Vince Delacroix is in there. Casey is in there. We've got a group of individuals who are feverishly working. We've gotten together in person a few times so far. We're going to do that again. And we are building, I think, what's going to be the best in the industry. Insights to why the changes have occurred. The benefit that we have as an organization is the IEI sits on every code making panel. We are at the table debating, arguing, chatting it up. And it's not just IEI members. I mean, I represent NEMA on panel 2. I represent Eaton on panel 10. Vince Delacroix is involved. He's on 70E. He's also on panel, I think it is, I think he represents NEMA on 17, I'm thinking. I can't remember. So we're getting so many different perspectives. We've got inspectors' perspective. We have Mr. Krieger, Kyle Krieger, involved as well. Now, Kyle is over codes and standards for NECA. So we've got a NECA perspective, the electrical contractor's perspective. We have inspectors' perspectives. We have manufacturers' perspectives. We've got engineers' perspectives. And we've got so many opportunities to add value to our materials that we bring from an IAEI perspective into the marketplace. So I'm excited about it. I hope you are as well. And I think everybody at the meeting was excited as well to see the content that we've gotten so far. Bar none, it's going to be the best in the industry. And we're going to be bringing it to you. Now, to give you a little update, Willie Snyder in the house. Thank you for joining on this Tech Tuesday, talking about Supercode. So I'll just give you I believe now the numbers of individuals that were there. Let's just talk about that real quick. We had, oh man, I would say there were probably over 100, almost 200 people there. Over 160 for sure. I'm not sure how far over 160. Maybe 180 or something of that nature. The room was packed. I met a lot of individuals. So people who were there either in the audience or presenting. You obviously had Mark Hilbert. You had Jimmy Rogers, chair of panel 4. You had Tour Batman voice needs work. My Batman, however, nice try. Nice try. All right, so we had Jimmy Rogers there, who's chair panel 4. We had Chad Kennedy, who's on panel 15. We had Vince Delacroce was there. Nima Jack Lyons was there. Jeff Sargent from NFPA was there. Who else? Christy McElhaney from Eaton. She's on panel 4. She was there. John McCamish was there, past panel 2 representative. He's also involved with developing the curriculum, the book for IAEI's code changes. I haven't edited any of the videos yet, but I had an opportunity to speak with. I don't even know if this is going to come through. Yeah, Willie, Mikey was there. So was Brian House was there. Mike presented a few areas of the NEC. I think he did electric vehicles. I think he did RV parks too. Something else I can't remember. But the way we did it was each code making panel. Now Mike's not on an NEC code panel, nor is anybody in his group. But I would say out of everybody that was there, he was the only one who wasn't directly involved with the code changes. But everybody else who was there and presenting are on code making panels. Like I did panels 2 and 10. I'm on 2 and 10. I don't believe we had anybody else from 2 and 10 in the room. Else I would have brought them involved. We had panel 15 represented. We had each of the code panels represented. So individuals who are sitting at that table involved with codes and standards in developing of the National Electrical Code were taking part in the festivities. So it was a really good opportunity to get some depth. You know, it's one thing to read the language and say, okay, here's what the language says. It's a complete separate opportunity to get. A couple people refer to it as the backstory. You know, if you're old enough, Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story. So it was an interesting discussion, and we identified during that meeting those. So this is the other cool thing about this Supercode meeting. Think about the timing here. We are after the first draft or second draft. We are before the annual meeting, so NITMAMs haven't occurred. TIAs are being worked on. NITMAMs, remember, notice of intent to make a motion. And in fact, the time frame, if you want to know what the time frame is, you go to www.nfpa.org/70next, and you scroll down and you'll see that the first draft, so the first draft is over. That's this, basically. You've got the public inputs, the closing date, the first draft reporting date. The second draft is pretty much complete. You got the public closing date. This is the next phase in the system. This is what they call the NITMAM, which is an acronym for Notice of Intent to Make a Motion. So notice is N, intent is I, to is T, make M-A motion. Notice of intent to make a motion. If it's certified, then it becomes a certified amending motion, and that is voted on. That is voted on at the annual meeting. So April 18th, which is 3 days from today, is the closing date for anybody who wants to put a NITMAM in. And what was really cool about this this meeting was that we had the opportunity to talk about what needs a NITMAM. Where do we think the NITMAMs are going to come into play? Because we have content in our presentation slide deck right now and in the book that may change between now and the end of the year. So at the annual meeting, it's really important to, and that's why the value of IAI, what we bring to the table, is we're so close to this process. Closer than pretty much most other organizations. I mean, NECA's there, independent electrical contractors are there. All those organizations are involved with the process as well. So, but we're bringing the we're going to have to adjust possibly the content of our slide decks and our materials based upon the results of motions that are made at that meeting. And then you have appeals after that. So you have the notice of intent to make a motion, and then you have and that's at the annual meeting, which will be in Las Vegas in June. So we had the opportunity to have the discussions of each of those code sections, and those that were deemed or that are controversial. A good one is Article 625. 625 is, I'm going by memory, 625.54, I think it is, the GFCI requirements. And you all can see all of this information. You can see what's published as far as part of the second draft. So, and first draft, because it's all public. It's all available to the public. It has to be available to the public. And looking at the second draft tear review, all you have to do is log in. Looking at that, you get access to the latest edition of the code that hasn't been published yet. But in 625, if you go to 625, I believe it's 54. I'm going by memory, but yep, 54. Wow. All right. It's bad when this stuff sticks in your head. So 625.54 is definitely going to get some action at the annual meeting. And it's around ground fault circuit interrupter protection, either NITMAM opportunity, or TIA opportunity. I know of a couple people have told me they've placed NITMAMs in 625.54 on that topic. So we'll see what happens. Now, we have 625.54 in our slide deck and in our book, and if it gets modified, we have to modify. So the cool thing is that we're engaged with the process. So I'm looking forward to an awesome analysis of changes from the IAEI this cycle. So another thing, now during the discussion, now here's the other benefit of reviewing this slide deck. I'm hearing, hold on, I'm hearing people, let's get to some comments. So we got Freddie B, we got Robert from Omaha, we got Willie Snyder. Okay, Robert, my Batman voice. It's gonna need work, I know. It's okay though. We saw Mikey was there. I thought it was interesting why they removed 625.22 because it's not an installation standard. 625.22. Why they removed it? 625.22 is titled Personnel Protection Systems. The EVSC has to have a listed system of protection against electric shock of personnel and comply with, and once you where the cord book. So I think what you're trying to say there, Willie, is maybe why they didn't remove it, because it is there. So I'm not sure if I understand your comment. Whoops. Electrician Ron from Point Pleasant, New Jersey, in the house. Welcome to the discussion, Ron. Hopefully, I don't know what edition of the code that you guys and gals are on out there in New Jersey, but hopefully you're going to see the 2026 code, because there are some really important changes, introducing some new technologies and the use of older technologies in newer applications. That's another big gotcha that we've got to consider. Fred, that would be interesting, because so many times we'll hear contractors, what are they? Yes. And that is what IAEI is going to bring. I think that's what's going to differentiate the IAEI. You can talk to most people. They'll say, well, we were there. We were in the room. Being in the room during the code panel meetings, you're late to the game. You know where you had to be, Fred? You had to be involved with the task group work. All of that task group work that led up to the final meeting, that is where the meat is at. Hearing the debate in the room, it's a good benefit. But to be a part of the entire process, from the task group work, all of those task group meetings where we're debating and arguing, and then getting changes, and then getting a proposed position that would be used at the code making panel. By the time you got there had been so much work, so many arguments, so many debates, so many gnawing of teeth, so much hair removed. You're just getting the tail end of the conversation. So, and the IEI has been there from soup to nuts. So that we're going to try very hard to bring that into the book and into the slide decks. You have to be at the expo to present a NITMAM in person. Yes, you do have to be there. So you have to be able to present your NITMAM. Yep. I added one word and it added 2 pages. I love it. I think there is no standard to list EV systems that DG brought to my attention. Okay, let's think about that. Electric vehicles are listed to a standard. David, EV chargers, UL listing. There's an EVSE safety standards. Let's take a look. There's a few industry references that are available. Oh, this. Okay. This is an interesting one. I'll put the link to this, Control C, in the chat. Control V. All right. And hopefully, I'm not sure if it just gets out to YouTube or if it gets out to everybody. I know we're streaming this. This is our first time we're streaming on LinkedIn too. So if you're following IAI, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. But this is right out of, there is a web page from UL Solutions, Electric Vehicle Onboard Equipment and Charging Infrastructure Standards. And if, David, I'm telling you, if this is I should be able to, let me do this. Let me show you something. I am going to try to, I don't know if I can get out to the LinkedIn site, but in any case, whoops, I think I clicked on something. Nope, here it is. So this website has a lot of really good information, and I love this diagram that I'm just going to make sure. I just want to see. I want to make sure I get dashboard, page posts. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. There we go. Now I can see. I can see the comments over here. I have a comment. All right, one comment. Rudy Garza. Yes, and Rudy says on LinkedIn that Supercode's only possible because of the amazing job done by the AAEI international staff, all the way up to the final hours. That group, Laura and the crew down at the international office, made it possible for IAEI's Supercode to go on. I am impressed at the response and the time when we get little hiccups in the road bumps. There's little speed bumps out there that slow us down, but not when it comes to the IAI. There is nothing slowing down that group that's down in Texas. I'm telling you that much. I don't know what it is that they put in the earth down there and the sand. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the beef they eat down there. I don't know if it's the barbecue, but Supercharged got all those speed bumps rolled out and made it happen. So this is good stuff. So this resource, David Engelhart, this little image is absolutely phenomenal. That demonstrates this is a huge value. Again, one of the industry partners that IAEI has, and they continue to step up with Michael Hofkin, Tom Lichtenstein, Jeff Fecteau. There are so many people, so many of the UL Solutions people out there that are at the IAEI meetings, delivering content, presenting materials. Their support and their knowledge is bar none some of the best in the industry. We have ETL as well. We have Christine Porter, who comes to our meetings, and we have others from CSA. CSA, I mean, we have so many experts in the industry that we partner with that you'll meet at IAEI meetings, it is worth the engagement. This resource is absolutely phenomenal. It goes through all of these different standards. Okay, so you've got the AC charging system, UL 2594. That's the standard for electric vehicle supply equipment. These are all the IEC standards too. You've got DC charging systems, UL 2202, the standard for electric vehicle EV charging system equipment on the DC charging stations, EV relays, bidirectional charging stations, UL 9741. So this document, David, I think from UL is absolutely a great industry resource that I would put in my electronic library if I were you, and anybody watching this, because it really has the landscapes clearly defined on all of the UL and IEC international standards that are applicable in those applications. So great reference. Jeez, oh man. Great reference for you. I got too many buttons. So that's one of the things I would reference, David. And then after you've reviewed, take a look at that. Tell me, I'd love to know if you think that that we still have a gap in product standards from an EVSE perspective. Would love that. Yes, there is. There. Okay, so I put the LinkedIn. I'm gonna post this out on LinkedIn site. I'm gonna just post this page because I got it on Facebook, but we don't have it out there. So please check out this resource from what? From UL Solutions. And I'm going to do a Control V. And hopefully it shortens that up. There we go. Comment. All right. Yes, there is. All right. What's this one? The EVSE is the safest equipment on the I don't know about that. I think the safest equipment on the planet is the equipment that is out in the parking lot that hasn't been energized yet. Period. That's all I'm saying. Willie says he installed an EVSE number 8. He installed an EVSE number 8. So it's his 8th one that he's ever installed. He installed it on a 50 amp breaker, and the software said the charge rate was 42 amps. No branch circuit adjustment was required. Well, that's good for you. You are the man. Excellent, David. Oh, we got Michael. Is that That's my Les Paul Standard. Yes, it is. That's my Les Paul Standard, and it's right behind my Marshall Half Stack, my TSL 100 triple super lead, which my pedal broke. So my triple super lead is now a single super lead, unless I press the buttons on the front. So, but in any case, yes, Michael, that is I got my Fender Stratocaster, American Strat. I have a Mexican Telly, and over there behind the flag is my Taylor. All right, if you ever want to jam, come on over. All right, so Lou, hey, Lou Petrucci is in the house, and I want to tell you all, bum ba bum bum. I tell you what, I loved it. We had a really good time. out there at the IAEI event in Supercode. This guy's a rock star, absolute rock star. I don't want to show a copy of my... Here's a few more rock stars. There's a few more rock stars. We were outside of the Salt, coming back or going to dinner. I can't remember. And then I did a thank you, Michael. Those are my prides and joys, that's for sure. Equipment in parking lot is still dangerous to cars. If pitch hazard, if you try to move it. You're absolutely right. You put it. I tell you what, Fred, this is what I always say. If you don't like the way I drive, stay off the sidewalks. All right? That's all I got to say. So I had a chance, which I will play a little piece of, but I had a chance to sit down with a few people, just a couple people, actually. I should have sat down. I would have liked to have had a longer conversation with a few more people out there, but it just happens. What are you going to do? Let's try this. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try it. We were out at, I had Tim McClochie, and I'll give you his background. But Tim and I. So let me just say this. Tim and I were supposed to do a shocking truth, right? So Tim comes up with these. This is what we thought was a reality, and it's not a reality. Or here's what people are saying, and oh, by the way, it is the truth, right? So it's like that can't be true, and you go, oh no, it is true. So we were supposed to do that, and we sat down, and he said he wants to do a program called "Turn the Tables on Tom." So and if you look in this video. If you look in the video down at the bottom, there is his paper. So he wrote down these questions he had for me based upon some of the educational stuff that we were putting on in the program. And I'll tell you what, we got some content recorded, and we did it because he thought on his feet. Came up with "Turn the Tables on Tom." So I'll just play you a quick excerpt from it. I might put it out as it's independent, but I'm going to try to filter this into our IEI News Live on Tuesday because I'm doing a Supercode review. And I know you've been on before, but why don't you tell everybody over there who Mr. McClochie is?
Hi, I'm Tim McClochie. I'm a building official in the state of Connecticut. I'm an IEI member. I do training. I work with Tom quite a bit. Well, not as much as I'd like to.
I know. We got to fix that.
We got to fix that. But we do some videos, and this is one of them. So I'm excited to be at Supercodes.
Yeah, me too.
And what a great day.
Oh my gosh.
Really, what I get to do is turn the table on Tom.
Oh, yeah. So usually, what was the other one we were doing? We were called it
the Shocking Truth.
The Shocking Truth,
yes.
Which we still are going to be doing that. You're going to get more shocking truths out there. And then we had talked about doing a shocking truth, but now he's turning the tables on Tom, which is not good.
No.
For Tom.
Well, this is great because we hit some really important topics today, really good topics from the 2026 NEC here.
Yep.
And one of them that I wanted to ask you about was 210.8, when you started talking about 210.8.
Yeah.
There were several things in there that I found interesting. I think it'd be really interesting to talk about.
Sure.
And we started with that HF.
The high frequency HF, okay, and HF plus. So you know as well as everyone. All right, so I'm going to have to save some of that for a session all unto itself. I've got to edit this, get the colors, make it a little brighter, less dark, all that jazz. But had a great chance to sit down with Mr. McClochie We talked about the high frequency ground fault circuit interrupter that's part of the new edition of the National Electrical Code, sort of the status of where it's at in the standards. We chatted. Oh man, what was another one? It's we went through all of that, and let me find another little piece.
Make that up, and it's the stenographer took it.
All right.
Must illuminate that area. There's no distance. There's no, it has to be within 5 feet or 6 feet. We didn't put any of those restrictions. We just said it has to, I can't remember the exact language, that it should illuminate, it must illuminate the, not eliminate, illuminate the area, the laundry area. Was it an exception? It's an exception, right? It's an exception. Okay, so it's an exception.
So what we were talking about there was the illumination of the laundry area. Remember, there are some laundry areas where you have basically a closet and you have a double stack inside that closet. There's a light that's required to be in the laundry area. So what we wanted to do with the public inputs and comments that came back to panel 2 were such that they said that if you have that double stack and it's a tight basically area and you put the light above the double stack, there's like a little gap above the dryer. I think the washer's on the bottom, the dryer's on the top, and then there's this little gap and there's a light in there, and the only thing that light's doing is just creating heat. It's not providing any illumination for anything. So we made some changes in the 2023 code to address the placement of that light. So we gave an exception with some specific language such that you can put that light outside of that laundry area and not have it inside that laundry area. So we made a few changes like that. And he was asking, because there were some, this is the other cool thing. It's the other really cool thing about Supercode is that this is the first time that people who are not a part of the process, haven't been sitting at the tables listening to the discussions, haven't seen this language yet, get to consume the change, have it go through up here, and then say, does it make sense? Is this what we wanted? Does this create more of a problem than it's solving? In some cases, it's like, thank God we have the language. In other cases, it's like, well, hey guys, you tried, but it didn't answer the issue. And in fact, it may have created some other challenges, I'll say, in enforcement or in the general application of the document. So we got that feedback, and even during the process of going through this and doing this presentation, I don't know if anybody will take the time to either put in a NITMAM or a TIA suggestion, but we had that discussion. So because we're presenting it at this time before the TIA due date, which is May 5th, before the NITMAM due date, which is in 3 days, those in that audience and in attendance that didn't like what the National Electrical Code committees did have the opportunity to still voice their opinion and get it on the table. So it was this discussion between Tim McCloychy and I was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because we didn't have a code book in front of us. I didn't have NFPA link open. I didn't have anything open. and we were just chatting, and he had a series of areas. The one was, I called it, and I made the statement, it was lick it and stick it. In 210.70, we put, for the lighting, we removed some language that has been debated over the last couple cycles, and we ended up right back where we started. And it's about the wireless control of luminaires, right? So the language gives you the permission to use listed wireless control devices to turn a light on and off, which could be battery powered, which means I don't have to pull conductors down to a box. If I buy my lights that are controllable from a wireless controller, I don't need a light switch now that turns the lights on and off. I can just, and I call it lick it and stick it, but you could have just tape on the back and it looks like a light switch, and you put it on the wall and it controls your lights. Remember, historically, there were debates about, oh boy, in New Jersey, just, whoa, I'm sorry, I lost track. I just saw this note. Michael says Joyzy adopted the 2023 code. Welcome to the 90s, buddy. That's awesome. Congratulations. I mean, I remember, I thought Jersey was behind the times, but you're back, you're on the 2023 code. I am very happy to hear that. That's a great thing. I'll tell you, there's some new articles that there's one new article that I drove, Michael. I'll tell you, and it was a point of discussion this week, or the last week at Supercode. I'll tell you the stimulus for it. Internally, one of my product lines came to me and said, hey, we have customers and we're engineering systems for powering an electric boat. What part of the National Electrical Code covers electric boat charging? So I looked at the definition of what an electric vehicle is, and it does not apply to the charging of an electric boat. So I started my journey seeking to add something to Article 555 for marinas, and the more people that I spoke with that are much smarter than I made the statement that it's not just about boats. We got people like John Deere and others who are coming out with electric tractors. We have electric helicopters. Think about that. And a helicopter that you get in that is powered by batteries. And Kyle Krieger was out at a NECA event in Hawaii, and apparently they use those to transport from island to island to island. So it's an effective means of transportation, but there's no NEC language to address it. So what I did was I figured we have two options. We have three options. We could put something in 555, which only would apply to marinas. So that was sort of not an option. We could have just created a new part in Article 625, changed the title of 625. We could have even, in that same journey, that same option, we could have changed the definition of what an electric vehicle is to expand that and just modified 625. Option 3 was to create a new article. And that is the option that we took because, and I know everybody, this is the stuff. This is the stuff that is going to be in the book and in the presentation materials that you can't get elsewhere. unless you're watching this video and then you add it to your your presentation. By creating our new article, we avoided any controversy, any debates and discussions that could occur. You don't want to stir any controversy. If you keep it separate, it'll either survive or die on its own and nothing else gets impacted. It got a lot of support. So we ended up creating a new article with language to address the marina, the farm equipment, airport equipment, helicopters, all that good stuff. We created a new term, and it was done under Code Making Panel 12, who has responsibility for 625. Code Panel 7, who has responsibility for marinas, was also involved to make sure that we address the marina concerns, because everybody out there knows the challenge that we have in marinas. We don't want to create any more opportunities to hurt anybody else. We just want to make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's. So in any case, that is all laid out in the slide deck. That's all laid out in the book from IAEI. So, there we go. Fred, the charger systems that he's seen for marina electric boats really don't meet anything resembling, yeah. So here's the problem, Fred. So here's what's going on. And I have this discussion with a lot of people. They'll say, well, codes and standards, you need the installation requirements. Not necessarily. As long as the code doesn't prohibit something, it's permitted. But then we want to make sure it's installed safely. So what we end up with is this is using old technology in new applications. So we're taking a technology that we use to charge vehicles and we put in parking lots, and now we're putting them out on a pier. So what happens today is the manufacturer, the inspector, and the contractor and the designer, they get their heads together and they say, what do we want to do? The manufacturers, as a manufacturer, our interest is to avoid hurting anybody. It's liability, it's everything. The contractor has the same desire. Contractor doesn't want to install something outside of any requirements. However they want to do it, then they own it. If something happens that they didn't think about and someone gets hurt, the contractor gets pulled into court. If the inspector approved it, the inspector is now going to want to make sure that, hey, I'm approving something as I'm saying that, hey, this is compliant. Technically, I could say it's compliant because there's nothing prohibiting it. There are no requirements that govern its installation, but you still don't want to hurt anybody. So everybody at the table is designing these systems, and every one of them is probably going to be different. So we need standardization. We need the right eyes. And what's nice about the ANSI process that's followed when we develop codes and standards, the ANSI process makes sure that not one category of individuals is making the decision, that we have a good mix of individuals represented at the table. So this ANSI process is what the codes and standards, most of those follow. And I think it's critical to the success. So getting it in front of Code Making Panel 12, getting it in front of an ANSI governed process for developing language. It gets things on the table that you and I as individuals probably would not have thought about. So it's making a difference, Fred. And I would agree with you. You know, all of these different installations are probably all different. You know, are they safe? I'm sure the intent is to get it that way. But it never hurts to make sure that we have codes. And that's what prompted me to make the public input to create a new article around charging, what did I call it? Electric self-propelled charging equipment or something like that. I'll tell you exactly what the article is called. We go to NFPA, go to NFPA Next. You go to the second draft report, and we come down here to chapter 6. Go to 624 is electric self-propelled vehicle power transfer systems, ESVSEs. So that's sort of what we did there, Fred, and I hope that the language that we got out there is going to be something that I'm sure everybody out there is going to learn to throw stones at. And that's what will make the language better. Marina boat, a marina e-boat is still Wild West and not really looking safe on water's edge. So the electric boat, so there's another discussion just on, if I have there's just so many opportunities. Fred, I'm not even going to get into the opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities to help increase electrical safety. So Supercode was a huge success, I think, and the guys out at, I want to get it right, so it's Massachusetts, Supercode, Cape Island, that's what it is, Cape Island's chapter of the IAEI. Oh man, they had it out on Eventbrite too. I think they did. So the Cape Island event, so Supercode is put on by the IAEI Cape Islands chapter. And what a chapter that is. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Laurel. I don't know what I'd do without you. Don't know where I'd be. I'm not just another YouTube channel. You're everything to me. All right? So the Supercode was a huge success. Had a lot of really good people there. Fred Hartwell. So you gotta love this. So in our book, I got about 6 minutes. All right, I can do this in 6 minutes. One of the points of discussion. So in the book, this is another one of those where you put language in the book, and this is the first time other eyes have gotten on it, and your eyes have been on it. Well, we used the term ampacity incorrectly, and when I was presenting as part of panel 10 in Article 230, I was up in front, and Fred Hartwell was sitting up on stage behind me. And Fred had a question. He goes, hold on. He says, he pointed at a word on a slide which said the ampacity of equipment. And I think it was 230.95 because we put in DC and we said ampacity of equipment. And Fred goes, wait a second. Is that term, does that say ampacity? And I looked at it, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh. I said, yep. I said, hold on, we'll fix that. I turned around and I looked at Paul Dabrowski. Paul Dabrowski was there. And I asked Paul about that. I told Paul, I says, can you make a note? Because, as we're presenting, you'll get these comments. And he said, hey, Paul, I need you to make a note that we need to fix that. And And so we did, and Fred was happy, and then we moved on. But then at the end, he brought up another slide, and it used the word ampacity incorrectly, and he drove home that ampacity is only used when we talk about a conductor. And remember what ampacity is. Ampacity is based upon conditions of use. So he took that as a great teaching moment, which, you know, having been involved with the development of the slides, you could take two positions. You could get like, oh man, don't go there. You're just like amplifying the mistake I made. Or you can really respect the fact that it is a teaching moment. It really is. We had that language in there. He seized the day, and he made sure that everybody in that room understood there's a difference between the ampere rating of equipment, the ampere rating of an overcurrent protective device, and the ampacity of a conductor, which is based upon conditions of use. I chaired a task group that addressed the exact same thing that he's speaking to. Back in the day, we got rid of, there were terms in the code that said the ampacity rating, and it had the word rating next to ampacity, and it's not a rating. There were so many areas in the National Electrical Code that misused the term ampacity, ampacity rating, and things like that. So we cleaned all of that up. But it was just I enjoyed, I enjoyed watching him, and I enjoyed listening to his passion around the proper use of terminology. David, follow up. 625.44 will require receptacles listed for EV charging. That UFR, yes, that is true. That is true. I think you're going to see some nitmams on this one, David. 625.44 does right now say it says, what does it say? Rated receptacle, grounding, where is it? I don't know where it's at. All other EVSE should be permanently wired and securely fastened in place. I don't see the language. I know it's in here, and I'm probably just not reading it fast enough. It says portable equipment shall be connected to the premises wiring system by one or more than following a non-locking 2-pole 3-wire grounding type receptacle outlet rated. It doesn't say listed for EV use though. I'm in the second draft too. Are you sure you got the right section? Control F, listed. I'm not seeing that language in 625.44. All right, now, I was in 624 because we were just talking about, there it is, a 50 ampere rated receptacle shall not be installed on a 40 ampere, so that was put in place. And it says, cord and plug, it says, what does it say? 30 or 50 amperes listed for EVSE and WPTE use. So yeah, they added that word listed for, and I don't see it in 624.44. It's not in 624.44. It's in 625.44, and that is problematic just because, to your point, David, there are no receptacles that way. Now, I don't know. I know that there's at least one nitmam. I think Ryan Jackson put a nitmam in. But I always like to think about what a worst case. What if it doesn't pass? What if the nitmam does not pass the floor? Now we've got some issues and challenges. And I don't know if you go back to Chapter 9, Article 90 and say, look, if there's no product available, you go back to a previous edition, or the inspector could say, you're not going to cord and plug connect anything anymore. You're going to be required to hardwire it. I don't know what the solution would be if it doesn't pass the floor. I like to think about those things just in case. All right, let's go back. It's 1 o'clock and I've got another call that's supposedly starting. I'm late to the show. Joe Schmo, you're late to the show. Steve, I'm later than Joe Schmo today. Joe Schmo, and had to step away for Nihad's back. And then you can charge your car from your house, powerhouse, car, all that good stuff. All right, guys and gals, listen. I'd love to chat more. Supercode, big success. Can't wait for all of you to see the latest edition of the IAEI's Code Change book. Thanks for everything. Take care. We will see you soon. Stay out of trouble. Take care, stay safe, and please stay healthy. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.